Hello, and welcome back to Spaces or Laces. I'm your host, Jeff Meyer, as always. Today is December 14th, and we're going to run it up on the show. We're going to start this off with a light 'em up segment of Michael Bennett and the Seattle Seahawks. What I saw at the end of that game was completely bush league. Michael Bennett should be disgraced. Over a year ago, he essentially called out in an article with ESPN, calling anyone essentially pansies and pussies for going at people's ankles on field goals or at the end of games. And a year later, he goes out and does it, which later escalated to one of the players, I think it was Jefferson or something like that. I don't even know his name, trying to go into the stands and fight a fan for throwing a beer at him. The whole situation, out of control, bush league. You guys are supposed to be professionals. Handle yourself accordingly. This just reminds me of being in like elementary school and you're playing backyard football on the playground. One bad thing happens because when you play in the backyard football, when you're a kid, you kind of referee yourself and things always get out of hand. That's just how it is. I was always fighting. Even today, still play, some tackle football with the friends when I go home. And if there's a questionable call, there's always arguments. There's always fighting. Someone doesn't get their way. They have a little tantrum, especially younger kids. And Michael Bennett had a tantrum at the end of this game. Totally unnecessary. I feel bad for him. Actually, I don't know if I feel bad for him. That might not be the right word because he's been in the spotlight all year and he's not going to get punished, which is crazy. I don't know if he's got a get out of jail free card considering the whole incident with the police brutality thing. Not really sure. It's just really strange. But there's no need for it in professional football. And that's why I'm lighting him up today. It's totally bullshit. Grow up. Be a man. I mean, I would tell us to his face in the funny part. He'd kick my ass. There's no doubt about it. He's a big, physical. He's a defensive player, defensive lineman in the NFL. Dude can wreck people. He's a vicious, awesome player. But when it comes to being, I don't want to say being a good person, but his character doesn't really shine through in moments off the football field or even on the football field for this matter. Diving at someone's ankle, there's no need for it. You lost fair and square. And it's funny, because that article a year ago, he basically, called out the Jaguars, saying if you're the Jaguars and you guys always lose by 50. I love irony in life. This happened versus the Jaguars, who beat the Seahawks in a game that I thought the Seahawks was going to win. Yeah, it's bush league. Michael Bennett, you're better than that. At least I'd hope you're better than that. Seattle, they're in a tough spot right now. They're in a tough spot, so we're going to see how this affects them in the upcoming week. But before I get into the NFL today, I'm going to try to make this a little short and sweet episode today. There's a lot of things I get into, but I just want to start making these episodes more concise. So with that being said, I want to flip to college and have talk about the Heisman. I know the guys in the big show went into depth on a couple things, including the Michael Bennett thing that I want to talk about today. But the Heisman, I don't know what it is right now, but the guys talked about it, and Richie mentioned it. The ratings are down. The Heisman's no fun. I don't know about you, but I love football. I love watching highlights, watching football games, live, commentary, all the whole 9 yards. Love it all. But when you have the Heisman show that is 3 hours long, and it's a dog and pony show, and I just don't want to see it. I don't want to waste my time. Like, ESPN and the people who run the Heisman gotta understand that this is 2017. Social media and everything is right now happening quick, fast. People want their news. They don't want to wait 3 hours to find out who wins the Heisman, especially when everyone who knows college football knows that Baker Mayfield was winning this award. Hands down, he was the Heisman winner for this year. And one thing I hate about the Heisman is it's a quarterback award now. It was not the best player in the country, even though I actually agree with Baker Mayfield being the Baker Mayfield being the best player in college football this year, based on his resume, based on what he did at Oklahoma. But it's not fun. I don't know. The Heisman just is boring to me because in my mind, every year there should be a defensive player, there should be a quarterback, running back, receiver, and who is the best player that year in college football statistically, on film, and also it's their importance to their own team. I think that matters a lot because when you consider some of these college teams, and I know the guy, I hate to say it, but Barkley for Penn State should have been in the Heisman. There's no way he should have not been in the Heisman. he was easily Penn State's most valuable player, and he showed up and showed out a lot this year. Now, a big knock was some of the bigger games. He didn't have quite the stats that he had in other games, but I don't know. Barkley was electrifying. He tore up a lot of defenses this year, and I think he should have been in the conversation as one of the best players in the country, and I think that's what the Heisman needs to be. Baker Mayfield deserved it this year, won it, should have won it. There's no question in my mind. He was the best player in college football this year, statistically. But like I said, I think the Heisman has become a quarterback award, which kind of takes away from the whole meaning of best player in the country. But it is what it is. And with college this week, bowl season's upon us. I know the guys at Southbound Sports, and I know a lot of people out there doing their college picks for the year. We're having the bowl picks through, I believe it's ESPN. I need to do that today or tomorrow, though, because this Saturday starts bowl season. But I'm really excited. I'm going to leave that for the guys in the big show if they want to talk more about bowl season. I'm going to be making my picks, and I'm sure you guys will find out the outcome of the people with Southbound Sports and whoever else joins the contest. But it should be fun. Now, I want to talk about the NFL. I was at the Steelers-Ravens game Sunday night. Man, it was exciting. I know I listened to the guys' podcast on the Big Show, and at the end of that game, I played football my entire life, and even the ending threw me off. And it's hard when you're at the stadium. That's one thing. I love going to the games, love the atmosphere. Steelers-Ravens, Sunday Night Football. Man, it was electric. The end of the game, I don't even know, but everyone was standing for the last part of the game. I don't know, maybe the last 4 minutes. I can't really remember. But the stadium was electric. Everyone was into the game. It was a classic Steelers-Ravens game. But even me, with all my football knowledge, all the years playing the game, being at the stadium, I didn't know why the game ended. I obviously saw the ball roll out of bounds, and just playing football, ball's out of bounds, clock stops. Didn't realize the rule, didn't realize they put that rule in effect so people wouldn't just lateral the ball out of bounds to stop the clock at the end of games like that. But it was so weird because I'm standing there, the ball goes out, they set the ball, Flacco's standing there, and I look up and I see the game clock is just ticking away. I'm like, oh, well, this is stupid. Now they're going to reset the game clock. I don't know why they're even doing this. Goes to 0, and the Steelers start jumping up on the sideline. The ref announced game is over, and I'm just like, wham, bam, what the fuck just happened? Obviously excited. Big home win. Boswell comes through again. Pretty sure 3 or 4 games in a row. Game-winning field goal, the deciding factor. He's on fire. Hope he keeps the streak going. But, man, that was a fun game. TJ Watt, who I think it was 2 weeks ago, wore his jersey on my podcast, got his jersey in Hawaii, came through, got that strip sack, the ball went out of bounds, essentially ended the game against the Ravens. That's huge. You have a rookie out there making big-time plays like that. It's weird. I want to see James Harrison get some more play time here towards the end of the year. He's fresh, hasn't really played much all year. He played in the Ravens game this weekend. But TJ Watt, I think he's going to be, a good fit when James Harrison leaves. I mean, he's been playing most of the snaps all season, but I'm just saying, he's taking over his role in the defense, and I think TJ Watt's going to be a great one. He's showing everything. He's got class. He's a hell of a defensive player. I mean, he's got that pedigree, the Watt last name. I'm really glad the Steelers picked him up, and there's a couple NFL teams right now that they're very, very disappointed themselves passing him over. So I love seeing that too when the Steelers make the right pick in the first round. But it was a fun game, Steelers-Ravens. Going to be at the game this weekend, Steelers-Patriots. This game is huge. This game essentially is going to decide who has home field advantage throughout the playoffs in the AFC. And I've talked to a bunch of other people, and I feel like I'm the only one that's really harping on this. If the Steelers win this game and get home field advantage to the playoffs, I think they're going to the Super Bowl. They were a Super Bowl pick in the AFC this year, going to the Super Bowl. I had Steelers-Packers. I think if they can win this game, I don't know if they will. Currently, right now, which blows my mind, the Pats are -3 at Heinz Field, so they're the favorites. The Steelers are underdogs, so I'm going to be betting on the Steelers as being home dogs. My team, home dogs, love it. But it's going to be a big one. I think the deciding factor. If they win this game, you don't want to go to Foxborough in January to play Tom Brady. You don't. You do not want to do that. That's what people are, and I'm usually one that's like, they're professionals, home or away, doesn't really make that big a difference. I don't think it necessarily does unless you're going to Seattle, huge difference. Kansas City, that crowd factor. But I don't want to play Tom Brady at home in January. He's proven time and time and time again that he's going to win in Foxborough in January and take the Patriots to the Super Bowl. I do not want the Steelers to go back there. They got whooped on last year in that situation in the AFC Championship game. I'd much rather have Tom Brady and the Patriots come to Heinz Field in January. And Big Ben at home, it's proven throughout his career. If you look at the stats, he is great at home, which is ironic because he had that awful game this year at home against the Jaguars when he threw 5 picks. But since then, he's been classic vintage Big Ben. He's had a great season. I don't think, it's funny, at this point in the season, the whole retirement rumors aren't flying around like they were early in the year. And that's the thing I hate about the NFL, the clickbait, the ESPNs, everyone just pushing out all this I don't want to say propaganda, but all this media buzz like Big Ben's washed up, Big Ben's this. Dude, he was pissed off after the Jazz game, gave a bad soundbite, dude. He's a professional. He's one of the all-time great Steelers. I think at this point going to be one of the all-time great quarterbacks. I don't know how high on the list he's going to be. A lock and tell by this year, adding to that legacy. If he can beat Tom Brady this weekend, make a run through the playoffs, beat the Patriots at home in the AFC Championship, go on, win another Super Bowl. 3 Super Bowl wins, 1 loss, 4 Super Bowl appearances. That's pretty damn good considering his career. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to maybe mess this stat up, but he's the only quarterback to have 3 500-yard passing games. He just had one last weekend against the Ravens, the 500-yard passing game. So he's done a lot of things in his career that other quarterbacks haven't. I mean, he's not Tom Brady, unfortunately. He's not the best quarterback ever, but he's got to be in the conversation of the top quarterbacks ever. That's my opinion. I know I'm biased. I'm still a fan. But I don't know. I've always been a huge fan of Big Ben. I love, especially when he was younger in his earlier days playing for the Steelers, the way he can move around the pocket, shrug off defenders, make those plays that other quarterbacks dream they could make. He's done it his entire career, and I hope he can continue doing it throughout this season, make a playoff run, and maybe make some of those plays, those vintage plays that Ben has made through his career in the Super Bowl. Man, that would be fun. But this weekend, Steelers +3 at home. I'm betting on them. And then, what was I talking about earlier? The Seahawks. That's another one I'm going to get to. So the Seahawks are home against the Rams this week, which the Seahawks are -2.5 at Seattle versus the Rams. It's going to be a big game. I'm going Seattle again. I believe in Russell Wilson. I believe in Pete Carroll. I don't know what it is. I love the Seahawks, and when they're at home, I like their chances. So they're -2.5 against the Rams this weekend. I'll be taking them. Going to go around the NFL here real quick, do my picks for the week. Colts +2.5 versus the Broncos at home. I'm taking the Broncos in that game. Lions -5.5 versus the Bears at home. Taking Lions. Chiefs +1 in Arrowhead versus the Chargers. I'm taking the Chargers. The Chargers are my dark horse right now in the AFC. Phillip Rivers, if there's anyone in the AFC right now that can challenge the Steelers and the Patriots, it's the Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to win this game. They're going to win the AFC West, and they're going to be in the driver's seat, and they're going to control their own destiny for the rest of the year. They're going to win this game in Arrowhead. Don't know what happened to the Chiefs. Started out 5-0, lost to Pittsburgh at home, and since then they haven't been the same team. They're 7-6 now. So are the Chargers. But I don't think they recover. I don't think they recover from that skid when they went 1-6 and they were 6-6. I just don't see it happening. I see Andy Reid and his Chiefs crumbling at the finish line. I see the Chargers winning this game. -1 at Arrowhead. Talked about the Steelers, Pats, Bills -3.5 versus the Dolphins. That game last weekend in the snow. Bills Colts. That was a hell of a game. Shady balling out. Put the game, ended the game. It was a walk-off touchdown run, which was awesome. They're -3 versus the Dolphins at home. I'm taking Bills Mafia again. I don't know. I'm a big fan of the Bills team. I don't think they're going to make any noise in the playoffs, but you got Shady, my pit boy. I'm a big fan of the Bills, probably because of the Bills Mafia, man. They're fun to watch. Those guys, they know how to tailgate and have fun, I'll tell you that. Then going to the Panthers -3 versus the Packers. Aaron Rodgers is apparently back. I don't know if he's playing this game or not. I haven't looked into that. I should have before the show, but I didn't happen to catch that information. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers lists or having Aaron Rodgers on the Packers this weekend. I'm taking the Panthers at home -3. There's a lot of time off for Aaron Rodgers. Even if he's back, he's a great one. But I don't think he'll be he's gonna have a little rust, and I don't think he's gonna be ready to beat the Panthers at home. And then the Browns versus the Ravens. I don't know why I'm doing this. I think this is maybe my dumb pick of the week, but I'm gonna take the Browns +7 at home. Just not a big believer in the Ravens this year. Joe Flacco has not been anywhere close to elite. Played pretty well against the Steelers, but he did have that one bad pick early in the game. Browns have Josh Gordon back. They have Crowell running well. Even have Coleman back off injuries. He was injured for most of the year, if I remember correctly. The Browns, I think they're going to pull it together. I don't think they're going to go 0-16 this year. I think they're going to win this game. Or maybe not win, but fuck it. We're going to take the Browns and the Ravens. I'm going to take that as my lock of the week. I'm going to sound like an asshole when they lose by 14, but they're +7 against the Ravens this week, so I'm going to take the Browns. And the Jags, talking about them earlier, the whole Michael Bennett fiasco and Seahawks players trying to fight their fans in the stands. Jags are -11 against the Texans at home. I'm taking the Jags. I think that, like I said, Chargers are the dark horse in the AFC. I like their chances, but the Jags are scary, man. They can play defense and they can run the football. Anytime, like I said it all when I started this podcast, been harping on it. If you can run the football and you can stop the run on defense, you have a damn good chance of winning games in the NFL. You can control the tempo, the clock. You run the football, I think you got a shot. So I think the Jags are going to be dangerous as well. Then we got the Vikes at home versus the Bengals. I think the Vikes are going to win this game, but they're currently -10.5. I don't like that. I'm going to take the Bengals in that one. You don't know if you don't know which Andy Dalton's going to show up. You don't know if it's going to be All-Star Andy Dalton or Red Rifle, BB gun, whatever Andy Dalton, just shooting pellets all over the field, throwing picks. I don't know. I have no idea. But you got AJ Green, you got some weapons on that team. The Bengals are still scary. I mean, they had a 3-point game with the Steelers 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to bet on the Bengals. Even though I think the Vikings are going to win this game, I just don't see them covering 10.5. Saints -15.5 at home versus the Jets. I hate these bets. Anytime you have more than 14 points in the NFL, they're scary as shit. I feel like smart money would be taking the Jets because you just have all those points. Maybe if you want to tease them with someone else, it'd be a good idea. But they just lost, I think they just got shut out 23-0 by the Broncos. So I'm going to take the Saints -15.5 at home. Drew Brees has been playing well. I think he's going to continue to play well. I think they're going to cover that at home, and that's scary. 15.5 points is scary in the NFL. Then next game, Giants +7.5 versus Eagles. Carson Wentz goes down. Eli Manning's back. I take the Giants +7.5 at home. Redskins -4 versus the Cards at home. Taking the Skins. Kirk Cousins going to get it going this weekend. He's going to win that by more than 4 points. Then 49ers are -1.5 versus the Titans at home. I don't know who put this line out there. I don't know if I'm missing something. There's some sort of information I'm missing in this one because there's no way in fuck the 49ers should be -1. Even if they're at home, I know the whole West Coast thing, the jet lag, the flying, all that bullshit, that's fine. But they're not beating the Titans. They're not covering the spread. I'm taking the Titans as the underdog on the road. Then the Raiders. The Raiders +3 versus the Cowboys at home. I'm taking home dogs. Let's go Raiders. Let's go Marshawn Lynch. I had a lot of guys on that team. I had Marshawn Lynch and Crabtree on my fantasy team too. I had 3 fantasy teams this year. I mixed them up all because there are so many different players and combinations. But I had both of them on either the same team or 2 different teams. I like the Raiders at home. They're going to make the AFC West a little interesting between the Chiefs, Chargers, and them. Taking them at home. Then the Bucks are +6 versus the Falcons at home. Taking the Falcons. They're going to blow the Bucks out. Everyone was so hyped this year on the Bucks, but they haven't shown it. Another thing, before the season started, I thought was interesting. Now, I gotta phrase this correctly because the Giants defense, I got in a fight before the year when there was multiple people I was talking to that said the Giants were a top 3 to 5 defense in the NFL. I said they weren't, and I rattled off, a bunch of defenses I thought were better. People thought I was crazy. I know the Giants haven't had any offense, so it's hard to play defense in the NFL when you're on the field the entire game. So I don't know. I just don't think the Giants have been a top. I think I was correct. I don't think they've been a top 5 defense all year. But like I said, it's kind of a slanted view because they've been on the field the entire game. Their offense hasn't done shit, so I feel bad for them. But I think I was right with my prediction. Early in the year, they weren't a top 5 defense. But just the end of the show, I want to just throw a little jab out there for Stephen A. Smith. He's all in on the Steelers this weekend, which makes me very scared the Steelers are going to win. Stephen A. Smith, I feel like, doesn't get anything right with football and doesn't know shit about football. So maybe he should have been part of the Light 'em Up segment, but he's taking the Steelers this weekend, which scares the shit out of me. But betting-wise, Steelers +3 at home. Gotta love it. I think the Steelers are going to win straight up. But I'm wearing an Antonio Brown jersey right now, so you know where my loyalties lie. And I think my opinion is very biased, but I think they're going to take it home this weekend. And finally, talking about the NFL MVP. Guys went deep on this, so I'm not going to really say much about it, but I would love to see Antonio Brown. He's been my favorite Steeler player for the last couple of years. Love to see him win the MVP. I think this weekend's a big game. If he can ball out again from the Pats, have a 150 to 200 yard game again. I mean, and I say it so casually, like that's just a normal thing in the NFL. But Antonio Brown is that special where I can honestly say that it wouldn't surprise me if he's in that ballpark this weekend with a big game against the Patriots at home. If he has 150, let's say 7 to 10 catches, 150, 200 yards, maybe a touchdown. It's unbelievable. He's that good that's not crazy long. That's not a crazy line considering he had, what do you have last game against the Ravens? 212 yards receiving, touchdown. No, he didn't have I don't think he had a touchdown, but he had 212 yards receiving. I know that. So he's currently at like the 1,500 mark. He can have one of those, another big game this weekend, and then he has 2 more games. Might be pushing the 2,000 mark, the Calvin Johnson mark. I think he's going to be, 2 years ago, he had like 1,830, I believe. I think he's going to pass his all-time best season as far as yards are concerned. But I feel like he's got to be in the race. Everyone that was important this year got hurt. This has been a bad year for the NFL with injuries, really bad. It's made a lot of these games not fun to watch, not competitive, with key injuries all over the board, every team. I was hoping the Steelers stay healthy the rest of the year. I mean, they just lost Shazier 2 weeks ago, which is a huge injury for the Steelers. And some reports have been coming out. It seems like things are getting better. Hopefully, I don't want to speculate too much, and I don't want to say he's gonna be perfectly fine because God forbid if he's not. That's it's a sad, scary situation. But I'm hoping that he's gonna be able to walk in and everything will be fine physically as far as that concerned, and maybe he can have a football career in the future. Continue his career. Not really sure, but it's been a bad year in the NFL with injuries. And with that being said, I think Antonio Brown needs to be in the conversation considering he's the best receiver in the NFL. He's starting to pull away from all the other receivers as far as yardage is concerned and statistically. So, I don't know. That'd be awesome. AB, bringing the MVP home for the Steelers. Or, gotta throw it out there, Big Ben's been playing, other than his horrific game against the Jaguars, Big Ben has had a pretty good year. I haven't looked at his numbers as far as, compared to his career, if this is a career year for him. I don't think it is, but he's having a pretty good one. So maybe, at least get Ben and AB in the talk with the MVP. Not sure if they'll win it, but it'd be good to have some Steelers in the conversation. Big Ben has never won an MVP, and obviously AB has a receiver, I believe, has never won an MVP. So get him in the mix, get him in the conversation at least. I think they deserve it. But it's going to be a big weekend. We're going to have a fun at Heinz Field. We're going to run it up, have some fun, do some tailgating hopefully. But it's been fun today. Check us out, Southbound Sports. Check out Southbound Sports on Twitter. Check me out. Check me out sounds so weird to say. Jeffrey_T_Meyer. That's my Twitter handle. tweeting at Southbound Sports. Anyone want to get on the show, talk some shit, talk some sports, be great. Anyone want to get on the big show, hit us up with our voicemail, 1-412-330-1512. Love to have someone on the show, whether it's my podcast or the Southbound Sports Show on Tuesday nights. But it's been fun. It's been real. This is Jeff on Spaces or Laces. Over and out.